Hello. So, as you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be working on a cover, and I thought I would just quickly show you the thumbnails I was doing. This is the first attempt, and it gives you the general idea of what I'm going for. Basically, the main character tied up to this chair, and then you're going to see just the shadow of this character here, and that's actually a reference to how you'll first see this guy in issue 1. And so that was my first attempt. Didn't really like how it was looking, and then here was take 2. Still not right. I tried. He's got this knife, and he's got an evil grin, but I wasn't really liking that either. Here's another attempt. Same idea, but still didn't like that. Here was another attempt, and still wasn't quite right. And here's the final idea, kind of solidified in sketch form. And I also have these, it's a wooden floor with floorboards, and these are going to kind of, if I can fit this idea in, these are going to kind of act as panels. Throughout the comic, there's references to fairy tales, and because the main character, she, as a kid, she'd read this book, and it was a fairy tale book, and so throughout the story, you're going to see visions of that, and so I'm kind of working those in to a lot of the covers. Well, really all the covers so far. So that's what that is, and so that's the thumbnail. And then, one second. So I already have most of it penciled here. And there she is right there. Kind of like tied to the chair, and then I haven't decided completely how I'm going to do this, so I don't know if I'll do that in the video. I'll probably just do this, but who knows, we'll see. And then I also, you might notice I have the space for the logo just kind of sectioned off, so I know what to leave alone, and then down here at the bottom will be where the credits are going to go. And I'll just show you. This hasn't been shown anywhere else, but I'm not going to show the entire cover, but this is the cover for the first issue, and I just hand drew the logo right on it. So that's what's going to go right there. And then here are the credits. So yeah, I didn't mention it yet. Some of you already know, but this comic is called Crimson Flower, and I'm working on, this is going to be the cover for issue 3. So might as well get started. And as usual, I'm using mostly microns and the occasional brush pen. So, where to begin? Probably the face. And I wanted the look on her face to be kind of, she's gonna be looking off camera at this character, and you get the idea that she's just over it. She's not even necessarily angry or showing a strong emotion. It's just kind of exhaustion. And get the eyes. I'm going to start kind of light with the eyes because just they're really important for this, so I just want to get them right. And there's the nose. I kind of had to adjust it with the micron because I didn't have it exactly right. There we go. Now, usually once I get the eyes are tough. Once I get those down, I can kind of relax, and because if I ruin that, then the whole thing is just wrong. So they're hard to fix too, so I think I have them pretty much where I want them. And she's looking off camera, just kind of annoyed, exhausted with the whole thing, and that's what I was shooting for, at least. So now I can go in and darken some of this too. I'm also going to have kind of like a shadow here. There's also going to be some blood right here. I wanted this cover to be one of those covers you see where it's got the hero and and they're clearly in a lot of trouble, but you don't know what happened to them or how, and you're just dying to figure out what happened and how are they going to get out of it. So I feel like you see that's a type of cover. That's what I felt would fit this issue the best. And also, I don't want to give away too much of the story, but there's drugs involved, and so they kind of affect her vision and what she's seeing. And so one of the cool things is that a lot of times I'll draw one pupil one way and the other another way, and that's actually Matt Kint's idea. He's the writer for this project, but it's a fun way to play with the way the character looks, and so I'm kind of just thinking how I'm going to do that for the cover here. I mean, I can always wait to do that. Because I mean, if you were to just see this cover, I don't know if it was me. Obviously, I'm biased, but if I can try to look at it as if I wasn't the one coming up with it, I don't know. Those types of covers always grab my attention right away. I can't really think of a specific example, but and I think it's not giving too much away, but it's enough that will hopefully intrigue you to want to open this thing up and figure out what's going on. Also, the hair, the hair is just kind of all tangled in a mess, and even I wanted the posture to be, she's just sort of slumped over in the chair, like just her whole energy is, she's done with it all. Rather than what you might expect is just complete anger and frustration. Let me get some of the blood in here. And the way I draw this is actually a reference. This is an inspiration from Dragon Ball Z. Because in that show, they'd always have just blood. I mean, the character, it's written in the script too that she's, obviously something happened, but just the way they always had blood by their mouth or by their chin or something. I don't know, that's always stuck with me. Something about that look. And now, let me start to do the shadow here. Because there's actually, directly where she's looking, there's a window. Where we can't really see it. But the light is kind of shooting this way. And that's why we see this guy's shadow. There's that, and then just kind of section off this hair first. But I want it to be darker on this side, and then this hair is somewhat casting a shadow too. Go like this. I can leave the blood as is, at least for now. Okay, that's pretty good. Even the mouth there. Add a little more there. Okay. I'm thinking, still thinking about the eyes. Kind of darken this. Make these kind of pop out more with the eyes too. And then eyelashes. All right. Just the blood on the chin alone. I mean, if I saw that, I'm instantly at least looking at the cover. Like, what happened here? What's going on? But you also don't know why it happened, so it's not like it's giving anything away. So thought that would be a good idea for a cover. And here's her freckles. It's like the front part of her nose there. I'll do... I thought I figured it out. Let me think. I'll do one pupil bold like that, and then one tiny there. So if you've already read the first two issues, and then you look at this cover, you would know what that meant. But if you're seeing this video, you're just kind of getting a sneak peek. Okay. I think the face is pretty set for now. Now, probably do the hair next. I think I'll just outline her tangled hair first. In a previous video, I kind of explained how I think it was the last one I did, where especially with her hair, I like to with different strands of hair, I'd render it just in different ways, because, you know, there's no rules to creativity or art, and you can, nothing says you can't do that. I think it's an interesting way of kind of breaking up things, and you can do that with clothing and different materials in a background. And if you're not sure what I mean yet, I'm about to show you. First, let me just get this down. Actually, I'll just, instead of doing this here, I'll just leave it open like this. This is a scarf she was wearing, and it's she's all tied up to this chair, and it's just kind of wrapping around the chair, and it's down, it's going around there. In case you were confused about what that was. And here's her jacket. Actually, there's so much going on here, I'll just wait to do the rendering until I have everything down, and then I can kind of plan how I'm going to attack this thing. So if you want to skip ahead to that part, feel free. If not, you can just watch me do this. Maybe you picked up the issue and this is sometime in the future, and you found this video and you wanted to see how it was drawn. Here you go. This is video evidence how the cover was made. Also, a lot of covers, a lot of the ones I like growing up, they would kind of exaggerate certain aspects of how the character looked, and that's kind of what I went for with the hair, because her hair isn't really that long in the comic, but something about that has always stuck with me too. Like, I don't know, I always just found that fascinating. Like, oh, on the cover it looks even more crazy than it normally does. Like, a lot of Batman covers, I remember they would be that way. So now let me kind of start getting in this rope here. This actually I might do this with a thinner line at first. Kind of like them to overlap each other. I think it's more of an interesting look. And kind of get her jacket squeezing out there. Just like this scarf here, you can see trying to create the look that it's like squeezing out. Doing it this way is kind of like a second wave of penciling, but it's more solidified because it is ink. It's just that you can kind of sketch with it like this, and then if it's not completely the way you like it, you can go back and with the real line you're going to use like this, and then clean it up. And if some of that kind of shines through, I don't mind it. I think it kind of, honestly, it adds kind of a, it adds more than it takes away. It just kind of looks more human. It's not this perfect, crisp, clean line, which I have nothing against. I just kind of like this approach. One more line here. See, this one I don't know if you can see that, but this line right here, I kind of messed up, and I wanted it thicker here, and I almost went like that, but because I'm using this such a thin line, I was able to kind of save it. So anything that I'm not super sure of, I can always do this technique, and it kind of, like I said, it's a second wave of penciling in a way. And then there's some here where they're kind of going under the chair. Trying to convince you that the rope is kind of like digging into the leg there. And so it's kind of like going behind the skin, or the jean. Alright, got that. Now to continue with the hair. Just trying to make sense of this craziness I have here. Sometimes you have to stop and just look at it, decipher what I drew. See, right here I'm kind of simplifying it, making it easier on the eyes. So this here can be pretty chaotic. So for part of this, I'm just kind of making it all one, like a silhouette almost. This line here is actually the scarf kind of going behind. I want the hair to kind of almost feel like it's alive. Like it's got energy to it or something. Okay, there's that part of it. Now I can kind of pencil in the rest of the sleeve. This will be kind of how it is already, and then see, this is kind of being indented, and it's going to come back up here. Get some wrinkles in there. In the comic, I would normally there's a bunch of panels where she's, you know, pictured in this same way, tied to the chair, but it's smaller, so I wouldn't draw these wrinkles and that kind of thing because it's just so small, and it just doesn't make sense to do it. But because this is a cover and I have room, now I can fit that in, and hopefully it doesn't look too cramped or too crazy. Ink that. Get that in there. Actually, I think I'll put another little thing here. I also want to thank everyone who's been watching the videos so far. I don't know, well, I know the people who have been commenting have liked them, and I really appreciate that. But let me know what you've been thinking. Like, is this the type of video you want from me, or maybe you have an idea of another, or maybe you want me to cover a different thing? Let me know. I'm open to ideas. I mean, this is slightly different. I'm drawing a cover this time. I'm just viewing it as, you know, this whole channel, I'm viewing it as just letting you into my process, and you can see how I do it. So there's no mystery to it. And because before this, I would just post on Instagram, Twitter, and you'd just see images of what I'm doing, and this, which is kind of a 2D view at what I'm working on, and this is like 3D. You get to hear me talk about it. You get to see me make it in real time. and there's just no editing, no, just raw, uncut. And I just try to think of, if I was a fan of my work, what would I want to see in video form? And this is the first thing I thought of. But like I said, if you want to see something else, let me know. But thank you for watching, if you have been already. I kind of think of it almost, a lot of them have been the length of a podcast, really. So it's not a podcast, but you can play it in the background in the same way. And maybe you're drawing, maybe you're writing, maybe you're eating dinner, and you just put it on in the background. The ropes I'll probably leave until I have all of this kind of figured out, because I don't want to ruin, because those will be left plain, and so I need to kind of be mindful of what's going on around them. Otherwise, if I'm doing all shading and stuff, there's potential for it to run into that. So I'll leave it as is for now. Just figure that out at the end, toward the end. And then here's the scarf. Bolden up this a little more. Okay, it's coming together. 43 minutes in, not too bad. Get more of the scarf here. Get the hand in there. And that is one sign that she is upset. She's just balling her hand up into a fist and just ready for the moment to escape, if possible. Maybe she gets away, maybe she doesn't. Have to read to find out. It's like a thumb bone there, and then it's kind of like curving down. I might do some shorter videos too, but I don't know of what. Maybe once I start the next issue, just try, I don't know, just maybe a part of a panel, and that can be a video. You let me know. Let me know what you want to see. There's the scarf. And then she has a black shirt underneath here too. Kind of goes to about there. You could even, if you wanted to, you could mute this and play a podcast in the background, or play music, or just listen to nothing. Maybe meditate. Listen to your thoughts. Do this part of her hair here. This is all going to be just blank. Like, I'll leave that for Bill to color. Bill Crabtree. So that'll all be just one continuous thing there. And then it continues down here. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go. And then the very ends where they kind of curl up, I'm going to use a thinner line, because they're kind of just, they get smaller as they go down. I'll move to the thinner line and kind of just get thinner it down at the end. You might notice I'm not completely obeying the pencils I had there already, but that's kind of the cool thing about inking, is that you can just go in and adjust things, and you don't have to completely go by the pencils. They're just a loose blueprint, really. Just a guideline for you to follow, or not. So there's that. Got the hair down. Probably do the legs now. She's got a hole in the knee right there from something that happened in a previous issue. I'm gonna start with that. I want it to really feel like it's been just torn. It's frayed. You can get pretty creative with how you draw this. And then I'll go in and kind of freehand some of these. It's like there's life to it. Some here. And then some thinner ones. Don't want to do too many. That's good. Oh, maybe one more here. There. And it also kind of matches the hair too. It's almost like the jeans have a life force to them. I'm just thinking. This is probably going to be black because it's I'm going to create the illusion that it's just one, almost like the shirt and the jeans are one thing and they're just kind of morphing together because of the shadows. So this will be black all under here. Hang on, let me just think. Use a little brush pen here. Just need to be careful of this rope. This is a dangerous game. can always white it out, but I just like to, I think there's something to, there's nothing wrong with whiteout, but there's just something to just, I like whatever I put on the paper to be what the reader is going to see. I don't know, it's probably just something in my head, but there's something to that, I think. I'm not really quite sure how to put it into words, but that's just kind of a, just, I don't know, it's probably just me, but I use whiteout. I have used it, but only if I really, really need to. Even if I make a mistake, I'd rather keep the mistake and rather than, because it's just more authentic that way. People who draw on paper with ink make mistakes. So why not just show that? And then drawing with whiteout to use, you know, you can get some really cool effects with it. That's cool, but I'm not into it. Not right now, at least. I could always change, but I like the simplicity of taking paper, pens, and just seeing what you can do with that. If you make a mistake, it's totally cool. Not only is it cool, it's expected. Or at least it should be. I'd rather see your mistake than, you know, you could also just go into Photoshop and clean it up, which I get, but also there's something to the original art, and whatever someone gets from the original art is also what they'll see in the comic. I think there's something to that as well. Or at least to me there is. Makes it even more special, I think. Like, oh wow, what he drew, I'm seeing it right there in the printed comic. There's no magic, there's no otherworldliness. It's just ink on paper. And whiteout is a thing that's just on paper too, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not doing a good job at putting this into words. I'm not really the best with that. That's why I don't really like to attempt that. I just do what I do, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. I might leave the leg just like that. I mean, a few more, even thinner lines maybe. So you can really see the rope is just sort of digging in. Gives it more of a 3D feel. By the way, my opinion on the whole whiteout, or just my whole idea of really liking just what's on the paper to be it, that could change, and there's no right or wrong to it. If you draw in Photoshop, I'm totally cool with that. I've done that, and who cares what I think anyway? These are just my thoughts on it. That's all it is. Alright, now this leg, it's going to be slightly different. Let me just think how I'll approach that. I might do some, I'm just going to pencil in some of the shadows. I might just crosshatch right here. Honestly. Oh. My hair. This is raw and uncut. No editing. And see, my philosophy on videos is a similar thing. If there's... This is just my view, or my way of doing it at the moment. If there's a mistake, leave it in, whatever. Mistakes happen. I don't want to edit and whatever, just more organic or more human. I guess that's the best way of putting it. It's the same idea. What you see is what you get. Or I could just leave it like that. I don't necessarily need to do cross-hatching. Let me do this. Might be good just how that is. Just how it is right there. A little more shadow there for the hand. By the way, I'm still filming this on my phone, so if the video... I should have at least about 3 hours worth. I don't know how long this will go, but if this video happens to abruptly end, I didn't just randomly end it. I just ran out of space on my phone. Eventually, I might get a real camera, but for now, this is the most convenient way of doing it. I just film it right on there and then immediately upload whatever I filmed, whatever I recorded. So, I think, yeah, the last video, I almost was able to finish the panel I was inking and ran out of space, but it is what it is. If you're wondering why it ended randomly and you got to the end, that's what happened. Alright, I'll leave that for now. Now, let me I'll do the chair. Bolden up this. This boot is going over this. Let me just look at the perspective here. And the chair, the chair should be, well, this will be the chair, and then here's the floor. So yeah. Just kind of indicating that this is over this and this is over that. And then little shadow. What now? What now? Get the scarf in here. Nope, see that mistake? Just leave it in. It's fine. I might cover it with some shadows. It's not the end of the world. There's those things on the end of a scarf, whatever they're called. Tentacles. That's how I'm drawing them. can go finish this. And then this one here. Okay, now the boots. To think about how I'll do that. Thinking about it. Actually, I'm gonna do this. I figured out I want to do this here. This will be cross-hatched. Because it's pretty light and it won't it doesn't disturb all the madness that's going on right here, but it still kind of gives you something for the eyes to look at rather than your, typical just, I don't know, just black, whatever. It's just something different. Continue it here a little bit. There's that little chunk. yeah, I think the legs are good as they are. So now I'll get the ropes bolting up these ropes here. Oh, there's something on the paper here. I can outline the legs too. All right, so that's established. I can get this little shadow. I can do that. It's kind of like a puzzle, just figuring out every piece, how it's gonna make sense all as one thing and not just be a mess. And it can still be a mess, but trying to avoid that. All right, let me think. Because every piece can't clash with the one that's next to it. And I don't want to like repeat, I want everything to just feel like its own thing, so I think it's just better that way. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to ink the entire cover in this video, but I'll at least get the main focus. This shadow is really just kind of almost like a side thing, but it helps with the composition. It just kind of balances things because she's over here, and I'm still not 100% sure how I'll approach that. It might just be black, but I have a few other ideas too, so. But I'll get to that when I get to that. One thing at a time. The hair, I might even leave the hair how it is. I don't know. Still deciding. let me just, in the meantime, I'll just outline these boots. You know what I might do for this boot? I'll do it kind of thinking I'll do it pretty dark, because then it'll be dark, light, so it's kind of like a just, I don't know, it just makes sense in my brain that way. Hopefully when it's done you'll know what I mean. Maybe you won't, I don't know. Okay. Now to bring it to life. Hopefully. But I don't want to approach it the exact same way I did that one. But it's going to be kind of on the dark side. I'm just going to try something here. Let's hope it works. Okay, got that. Could leave it just like that actually, but now I'm gonna do this. So it's kind of, these are the darkest points of the shadow. And it's just kind of fading downward on this side. I guess that kind of worked. It was an experiment. Yeah. Now, I don't want it to be that stark of a contrast, so on this side I'm gonna kind of fade over this way. See what happens. See what happens. There's no one doing it. So that's okay with me. And then there would be kind of like this. There. That works. I just think this should be a little more over this way. This should be a little more like that. There. And these heels will be even darker, I'm thinking. Kind of a highlight there. Highlight there. There. That works. And now this boot over here will be the opposite of that. It'll be kind of more light, kind of like this leg. I don't know, I can't really explain what this is I'm doing. It just, I'm kind of coming up with it on the fly. It's just, it makes sense to me. I think it works. It's like a yin-yang type thing. If anyone knows what this is I'm doing, feel free to comment. Feel free to comment. If you're even still watching. Okay, now let me kind of do this. Like that, like that, like that. There. And then also from this side a little bit. Right here. There's a little bit of an edge there. I don't like this one as much, but it goes back to what I said. I tried something, and I mean, it works, but I don't love it necessarily, but I also don't hate it, so I don't know if that sounds bad, but I don't know. It just is what it is. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's fine. It's, you know. It's not for me to decide anyway. So, what do you think? I'll let you be the judge. And now, same. The only thing that's going to match on both shoes is the heels, so that there's some level of just something that, other than the shape, and that you can clearly see they're both boots that resemble one another. There's something there that's no bug. There's something there that's signaling, hey, these are the same thing, even though they look a little different to some extent. And you can see there's a little ledge there too on top, so it gives it a little depth, a little bit of a dimension to it. All right, this is coming along. It's getting there. Yeah, I definitely won't have time for the whole thing, but at least you'll get to see the main thing here. Now, let me think some more. Now the scarf, I think that'll be kind of my typical rendering style, or one of my go-to ways. I'm gonna start with the darkest parts. Those are easier to do. You got shadows there. Got some shadows here. I'm gonna kind of fade it because I don't want to collide with this hair too much. It would just be too much. See, really, that would be darker back there, but I don't want to overdo it. It'll just look too busy. And then shadow here. And then in here. Here. Just kind of signal where this is. Actually, I want to, here's the real edge of where it is. So I want to do this. It'll be darkest there. then everything will be kind of cascading down. It's good to rotate the paper when you're, well, really when you're drawing anything, but because you have a kind of like a muscle memory, good, you know, I don't know the words, but usually your hand is good at, or it finds, I give up. It's good at, you know, moving in one motion or one or two motions. Like, for example, just in different ways of, I can't think of it right now, but there's different ways of, like, maybe you, like, I would never just, like, see this line here. I would never, my typical way would be like this. Just, that's where I'm most comfortable. So I'd angle the paper in that way that kind of fits how I feel the most, you know, just the most confident, I guess. I wouldn't go this way. That's a good example. I could do it, but it's a lot riskier. It's just, if I really want this to be a fairly straight line, I would angle the paper that would give me the best advantage. That's probably obvious to a lot of people, but maybe not everyone. Maybe it's helpful to someone, I don't know. So that's why I know a lot of people like to tape their paper down, but I could never do that. I mean, I could, but it would just make things a lot tougher, because I'd have to try and just move my arm in an awkward way, and I'm adapting to the paper rather than making the paper adapt to me, if that makes any sense. Trying to create more of a 3D feel, so that's not just a flat object. And now darken this up just so it stands out over those shadows. Need some shadows back here because it's behind. Well, the light's from that way, so it's shining that way, so the shadow would be here. Not that you need to obey that, but just to give some sense of my own made-up reality in this world that I'm trying to convince you makes sense. And I don't know if what I just said make any sense either, but if you get me, you get me. If you don't, I guess you don't. I don't know. I'm not the best speaker. That much is obvious. Okay, now bolden these up a bit. Now, hang on, this needs a little more. It's going to kind of curve downward. And then I'm going to add some tick marks here. Because nothing else except for down here, they have this boot has some, but they're really tiny. And this scarf will kind of have its own feel, hopefully. And at the end of the day, it will be colored, so the colors will break things up, but I like to, as much as I can, with different textures and patterns and symbols, kind of make sure things don't just blend together, or you can easily or somewhat easily understand what's what in my drawings. That's just something I try and do. Now some over here. I just need to get this part of the scarf too. Alrighty. This is the home stretch for at least this part. 2 hours in. Almost there. I've just got the collar, this part of the jacket, and then the hair, which I might leave. There's already a lot of different rendering and different inking styles going on here. If I do that, it just might be a little too much. I mean, it works as is. The hair, at least. Not the jacket, I'm really not sure, because it's in the middle of all of this, and I don't. If I do the wrong thing, it'll really just throw things off. And for the collar, you know what, for the hair, I will add some. It'll just be all light. It won't be as bold or dark. It'll just be kind of like this. So it's not too heavy-handed. It's not overstaying its welcome. It's giving you enough, but not, hopefully not. See, and right as I start to come into contact with this, I'm purposely kind of lightening things up here. So there's that. And then down here, where they all connect, I'll just leave it open, because it would just be too much. And now trying to find the right pen. And now this one is going to be a series of dots. Kind of make it its own. It makes it its own thing. Its own. You know that this instantly by looking at it, that this strand is its own. It's kind of on its own island. It's on its own plane. It's for sure different from that one. And now this one. I'm just kind of going 2D with it. Similar to this, although this is three-dimensional because you can make out where things are, and the lighting helps to make sense of everything. While this is it's more of a pattern And as it gets here, I'm gonna just, there. And this one here, I'll just leave it. It would be too much if I added more. And so now, the collar, I'll just kind of suggest that there's some depth there. So that's, let me bolden up some of that. With this, I might actually just draw. I've got the room. I'm gonna just draw the actual. I'm gonna take a chance. And this is the for the buttons. So I've got that. Now, there's typically a pocket right here. Yeah, I'll draw it in there. I'll draw that right there, and here's the button, and now that might be fine as is. I might, oop. See, I just went into that rope, but it's fine. Oh, now let me just add a little wood grain here to this. It's an old wooden chair. Just so you get a feel for what this chair is like. And now just add these ropes. Make these more bold. And that's it for the character. For Rodion, that's her name. I think that's how you pronounce it. Rodion. Yeah. See, I'm moving that paper. It's a tried and true method. Don't be afraid to just manipulate the paper and move it where it's best for you. That's a little rougher than I'd like, but I'm not mad at it. It works. It works. Especially, I mean, once it's on the actual comic, it'll be reduced down in size, and might not completely... A lot of this detail will be not lost, but just you won't see it the same way you're seeing it now. It won't be under a microscope. I made a bit of a mistake there too, but not so bad. I'm willing to change it. And this is part of the jacket, just overlapping the rope. There's a rope here. Right. Oh, ooh, that's really rough. See, that I might white out. Just that one little spot. Maybe not. I don't know yet. All right. I feel like this just needs to be a little more bold. Some of this hair to just stand out. And the color is really going to help this, because I might have a little bit overdone it with just too many, maybe not, but too many different patterns and lines, and just there's a lot going on here, but it's also hard to tell because I'm right on top of it and I'm just continuously staring at it. But the color will definitely help make sense of this craziness. Okay. I think that's going to do it for this video. The rest of the cover, I guess you'll just have to wait and see. But this gave you a good glimpse at what this was like, creating this. So hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Maybe leave a comment. And I'll see you on the next one.